Among the most common beginner failures is arriving with too much equipment and no clear starting presentation. A large tackle box can feel like preparation, but every extra hook, weight, color, and lure creates another decision when the fish refuse to cooperate. For ordinary freshwater fishing from the bank, a medium light or medium spinning rod, a matching reel, manageable line, small hooks, a few split shot weights, a bobber, pliers, and one or two simple lures are enough to begin. The purpose of a first setup is not to imitate an experienced angler's entire collection. It is to learn how the rod loads during a cast, how the bait behaves underwater, and what a genuine bite feels like through the line. One familiar setup teaches more than 20 combinations that remain confusing. Closely connected to this is the tendency to use a hook or bait that is too large. Many new anglers assume a bigger offering will automatically attract a bigger fish, yet an oversized meal can prevent ordinary fish from getting the hook into their mouths. For bluegill and other panfish, a small hook with a piece of worm no larger than a fingernail is often a sensible beginning. The bait should stay secure while the hook point remains exposed. For bass, a modest, soft plastic compact spinner or small crankbait is usually more useful than the largest lure in the box. Repeated taps without a hookup are valuable information. The fish may be too small for the bait, the point may be buried, or the angler may be reacting before the fish has fully taken it. In that situation, make the bait smaller before replacing the entire setup. Small fish can eat small baits, and large fish frequently will as well. A third problem appears when the angler trusts a knot or damaged line that has never been tested. Even the perfect spot and the most accurate cast cannot compensate for a knot that slips or a line weakened by rocks, branches, or dock posts. Learn one dependable knot and practice it before the trip. With monofilament or fluorocarbon, the improved clinch knot is a practical starting point. Pass the line through the eye, make several neat wraps, guide the tag end through the small loop near the eye and back through the larger loop, then wet the knot and tighten it slowly. Trim the tag end without cutting perfectly flush. Pull firmly on the hook and main line and inspect the final few feet for roughness, flattening, nicks, or cloudy abrasion. If damage is present, remove the weak section and tie again. A few seconds of testing is far preferable to discovering the defect after a strong fish breaks away. Moving from equipment to location, perhaps the most damaging mistake is fishing convenient water instead of useful water. Fish rarely distribute themselves evenly across a pond, lake, or stream. They gather where food, cover, shade, comfortable water, protection from current, or access to another depth is available. The best starting point is often something different from the surrounding water. The shaded side of a dock, the outside edge of a weed bed, a fallen branch, a drain, an inlet, or a point extending into the lake. In a stream, search for a seam where fast and slow water meet, or for a deeper pocket behind a large rock. On a breezy pond, investigate the bank receiving the wind because insects, plankton, and small baitfish may collect there and attract predators. Do not merely ask whether a location looks fishy. Ask what reason a fish would have to stop there. If you cannot identify food, cover, shade, current relief, or a depth change, you may be casting into water that offers little incentive. Even a promising feature can be ruined by approaching it carelessly. Walking directly to the edge, stomping along the bank, or allowing your shadow to cross shallow water can spook fish before the first cast. Stop several steps back and observe. Look for tiny baitfish, surface dimples, weed openings, shade lines, moving water, or a darker band that suggests depth. Make the first cast while you are still hidden from the near water. Fish patrol surprisingly close to shore, especially early in the morning, late in the day, beside shade or where the bank drops sharply. If you march to the edge and immediately cast toward the middle, you may already be standing above your best target. Move quietly, keep your shadow away when possible, and fish the water beside your feet before advancing. Once the area has been chosen, random casting creates another unnecessary problem. A long cast is useful when fish are distant, but accuracy and organized coverage matter more when fish are close to cover. Imagine the water as a clock face and work from left to right, then repeat those angles at another distance. This fan pattern prevents you from dragging the same empty lane again and again. Near a dock, weed edge, or fallen tree, cast beyond the target and retrieve alongside it so the bait remains in the productive zone longer. In moving water, cast slightly upstream and allow the presentation to travel naturally toward the slower seam. When a bite occurs, remember the angle and distance and repeat that cast before exploring elsewhere. Fish often group around the same small feature. A related error is presenting every bait at one speed and depth. Start with 2 seconds, then retrieve. If the lure never touches weeds, rocks, or bottom, allow a longer fall next time. Change one variable at a time. After casting, keep the rod pointed toward the bait with only a slight bow in the line. Enough slack allows natural movement, but a large loop hides information. Watch the precise point where the line enters the water. Any unexplained twitch or sideways movement deserves attention. Reel down until you are nearly tight and prepare to lift the rod. A bobber may disappear, tilt sideways, travel slowly, or rise when a fish lifts the weight. Understanding normal behavior makes abnormal movement easier to recognize. When the signal appears, many beginners set the hook too quickly, too violently, or with too much slack. The response should match the presentation. With a worm under a bobber, wait until the float stays down or moves steadily. Reel until you feel weight and lift smoothly. With a moving lure, continue reeling until the rod begins to load, then pull back firmly rather than making a dramatic overhead swing. Circle hooks require even less striking. Reel down steadily and let the rod load as the hook slides toward the corner of the mouth. After the fish is connected, the task changes from striking to maintaining pressure. Keep the rod bent and the line tight. Let the drag release line during hard runs and recover line when the fish pauses or swims toward you. Sideways rod pressure can guide it away from weeds, branches, and posts, while pointing the rod directly at the fish removes its shock-absorbing power. At the bank, keep the fish in the water until you are ready to land it. Lead it headfirst into a net, wet your hands before handling it, support its body, and remove the hook carefully with pliers. Follow local rules for licenses, seasons, sizes, and harvest, and release any fish you cannot confidently identify. Finally, remaining in an unproductive place without making a useful adjustment turns a quiet session into a repeated experiment with no new information. Instead of changing lure colors every few casts, follow an adjustment order. Cover the promising feature from several angles. Test the depth, vary the speed. Try one genuinely different presentation such as a worm beneath a bobber, and then move to the next piece of promising cover if no bait fish, surface activity follows, taps, or other signs appear. Moving is not admitting defeat, it is testing the next likely location. The rule connecting every correction is simple. Location first, depth second, speed third, and lure details last. Beginners often reverse that order and spend hours changing colors in empty water. Ask whether the area gives fish food, cover, comfortable water, or access to depth. Then place the bait where they are likely holding and adjust its movement. Only afterward should shape or color become important. In clear water, begin with natural colors and quiet movement. In dirty water, a stronger silhouette, vibration, or bright accent may help fish locate the bait. Treat every bite as a clue. If one comes beside a shaded dock corner, test similar corners. If it follows a 5-count sink and slow retrieve, repeat that exact sequence. Remember the angle, depth, speed, and cover, and record the result on your phone. Your next trip can begin with evidence rather than guesswork. So, here's the plan for your next outing. Bring one simple setup, small bait, pliers, eye protection, and required safety gear. Observe from the bank, choose water with a reason, test the knot, make controlled fan casts, and watch the line. Start slowly, then adjust depth, speed, presentation, and finally location. When a bite occurs, repeat the exact cast that produced it. You do not need perfect gear or secret knowledge. You need a clear reason for every cast and a calm process for deciding what to change next. Once you can find fish and recognize their bites, the next challenge is choosing the right lure. Watch best fishing lures and when to use them next for a simple selection system that does not require a giant tackle box.